Hello. Hello. How's everybody? So, for anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Melissa Terrio-Gaulke, and I am a clairvoyant psychic medium. Clairvoyant psychic medium. Did I say that right? Yes. And owner and operator of the Eternal Elephant. I provide typically 1 hour individual private read sessions as well as small group read sessions. Once in a while I'll have card read opportunities. And I host a journey exploration group for those who really want to dive into a plethora of spiritual content that's available in 7 different tier options of membership. And that is hosted on Patreon. So anyway, I'm checking back in from our solar eclipse. And I was gonna, on Monday, we had solar eclipse, we had new moon. We are at the peak of a meteor shower. There was a lot going on. I had some other things that had come up. They were very in flow, very synchronized. And so I knew I was not going to be able to get my Monday musings recorded and posted. And Spirit just kind of let me feel like, you know what, just write it out. It's in flow. Instead of posting a Monday musing for my patrons, I gifted each one of them a personal card reading and then sent them voice clip narration for their personal card read and message. And I think that that it's a really good time to have individual unique message to you. So Spirit was honoring that, but also it was a way for them to calm me down, thinking I gotta get this content out, I gotta get this offering out. Like I knew what I wanted to talk about and everything, and Spirit was like, hey man, it's not your time to talk about it today. I'm kind of fighting, saying, well, I don't get that. I don't understand that because the solar eclipse is today and the new moon is today and we're all feeling it today. So why am I being, I had other things to do, they said. So anyway, I digress. I thought that was really interesting in the moment, and I try to just listen to Spirit. And so I did kind of begrudgingly, I did drop the tug-of-war rope eventually, but I was still kind of, I was in it for a minute, Really, that's like all this weird personal stuff of mine and I often share, because most of the experiences or the offerings come through some way, shape, or form of, that I have some connectivity in my experience in translating collective message, right? So anyway, what was transpiring there, to clarify for people who aren't familiar with my crazy nut mind and my own inner monologue narration, is letting go of what I feel, or I shouldn't say what I feel, letting go of what I feel the expectation is, or societal expectation, or what I've been taught or conditioned to believe is consistency. Because we all have our own internal rhythm, and I'm very acquainted with mine. It just doesn't necessarily match what appears to be expected. So anyway, that's a total side note. It has nothing to do with what I'm really actually going to talk about. But, so that's why I was fighting with myself. And Spirit was like, hey man, just talk about, we'll let you know. We'll let you know when it's time to come in and talk about that. Your window of opportunity always shows up. It's always in flow, right? So that's what I was talking about. So here's the reason. The reason is that Spirit said, and Spirit's so clever, obviously, and they use our time very wisely. And so oftentimes they come in with things that overlap and correspond and are real matrixy. That's going to be my word for 2021. Matrixy. Everything is all matrixy. So anyway, one of the messages that Spirit wanted to offer was before, okay, so Yes. Before you go seek out a spiritualist, a messenger, some sort of energetic practitioner, astrologer, etc., right? Before you go seek out somebody like myself to tell you what you're feeling in this moment, or what you're supposed to be feeling in this moment, or that you should check in with yourself. Definitely check in with yourself. You'll always know your message better than anybody else. And then what happens is, then when you start to check in with other practitioners, other people, okay, here's the deal. I gotta fix this because I can't even stand looking at myself, right? So, yeah, I can't. Is that better? And here's the other thing. If this ever looks haywire and you don't tell me that my lipstick's jacked up, we are not friends anymore. Be candid. No, okay, so I digress once again. My focus is a little ping-pongy, as you can tell. That's not really new, but it's a bit hyped up. So, in this moment, if you can think back a bit to 12/14, so Monday, 12/14, and just check in with yourself and try to reflect on what you experienced energetically, like in a physical kind of way, dynamic, I guess, emotionally, mentally, what were the going-ons in your space, in your environment, externally at that time. So kind of do a little check-in with yourself in that. Yeah, social space sometimes gets forgotten, and is a very important component of our existence. Okay, so is there anything else I want to say about that? Okay, so the other thing then, after they got done with all of that, checking in with yourself, right? Making sure that the whole point of working with yourself and with either a messenger or other practitioner, like I just listed off, is for you to gain your own wisdom, or the remembering of your own wisdom of you, your own discernment, your own spirit. And so if you're not engaging that, right, then you're still being told what you're supposed to be feeling, etc. So okay, you get the freaking point, eh? So the other thing then is to consider, where do I want to go with this? Let's see. I got a lot of notes, and I'm just trying to decide which direction makes most sense here. I think I'm actually going to talk a little bit about when I did finally sit down and for myself on Monday to get some offering and direction in my own space, and for Monday musing. The words that were provided to me were look closely and look again. Look closely, then look again. And so as a total solar eclipse transpires, this is when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. So you can see the symbology of, well, a couple of things. The diminution of light, and then the returning of light, which also we're also currently experiencing as we're getting closer and closer to hitting winter solstice, when we're holding space because for the light, because it is slowly returning back, and our days are slowly gaining light back. So we're still within that recession of light right now, before the return of light. So that is something synonymous with total solar eclipse. And As well, you can see how when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, that can also does represent obscurities, obscure images. So what this means is it's basically things that we see or can see or experience through a smoky mirror, our conditioning, or something not quite clear, not quite with all the variables of truth, something that's concealed. It might be something that is, this could be internally, because we're moving into a very introspective space. However, I will say that this message from this total solar eclipse will carry you through quite some time throughout our whole next year, because, well, I'll explain how this is going to be repeating. So this could take you to different dynamics of experience in these different cyclic times where this particular axis of energy between Sag and Gemini are axes in the total solar eclipse. That will be transpiring, I think it's 3 more times cyclically in 2021. So what Spirit has provided here, and then what we also know about the resonation of total solar eclipses, this can be rewatched basically. Anyway, because we're going to have this cyclic nature of this. We're having this now as our last total solar eclipse in 2020, and then we will experience this again 3 more times in 2020 with these same 2 signs in the north and south node. Okay, so I'm going to get into that, but I'm trying to piece it all together and make it congruent so people can understand, and sometimes I'm not all that good at it. Okay, so obscure message or obscure images. So this could be people, place, things, circumstances, creations, dreams, desires, your own understanding of self, our structures, communities, you name it, right? So where do we see in smoky mirror? And things that might be concealed? It might be things that are shrouded or hidden, not clearly seen, not easily, or I should say disguised, maybe. Also, if we're talking about like ourselves, again, and I'm just going to use this as an example of, let's say we're talking about ourselves introspectively, right? Maybe something that wasn't readily understood, or wasn't clearly expressed within us. Maybe we weren't connected to it. This could also be in many other areas of our life, in relationships. Okay, again, so things that may be relatively unknown or remote or secluded, things that might be not predominant, not well known. Okay, so these are areas, the obscuring images, and basically the mirror is going to continue to clear and continue to clear and continue to clear. That's the opportunity for us to step into with the cyclic nature of these solar eclipses. So, all right, let's see. It's interesting too, because as I was writing and receiving this and understanding it, I was like, man, you don't think that kind of feels somewhat like 2020? Like we've been dealing with some smoky mirror stuff and coming to clarity and, already. So we're supposed to understand that we're going through this like continuum in 2021 or what? So Spirit basically answered me and said, well, in 2020, we overturned stones. We exposed worms. We understood that we could take those worms, we could actually utilize them to fertilize our foundation if we take the opportunity to do so. And in that, we learned basically where our complacencies were, right? We got real settled in. We got real settled in thinking we're doing okay. We got really complacent. So it was very much about, where are our complacencies? Where are our corruptions? Where are our compensations? And where are we so overly consumed, like rat race, right? So that was our 2020. And so, excuse me, the other thing about 2020 is that we really dealt with change in like this shock value. There's a shock value, like people, shock to the system for a lot of people. And I'll be honest, in this particular moment, yes, Groundhog's Day of COVID, the empathy of the challenges mentally and emotionally for the kids and the distance learning and working with the kids in that and feeling responsible for their well-being, their health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. Yeah. Okay, so I'm human and there's been days where I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this Groundhog's Day gonna like give us a little breathing room? But overall, it hasn't been a huge shock to the system for me. But back in January, February, when Spirit came forward in message, they said a lot of the people who have been doing their journey work, their wound work, their shadow work, they're just engaging the journey, their self-awareness, right? That they would experience the shock as less of a shock, more the after tremors, right? And they gave me the image of those people reaching their hand out and pulling the other people with and saying, okay, yep, I did this, I've been through this, so I'm going to support you in your continued growth, in your disillusionment of limitations, etc., right? So anyway, 2020, a lot of people experienced the change. It was shock, right? In 2021, Spirit is saying we're always in change. We're always changing. It's constant. But there's sometimes when we don't notice it. It's kind of like if I have just been kind of doing my daily thing and I've dropped 20 pounds or 15 pounds or 20 pounds or something like that. And I don't really notice. I mean, I can kind of tell a little bit that maybe my jeans are a little looser, and other people around here don't notice so much. They see me every single day, right? But the minute that you step out and you go see somebody they haven't seen in a while, they're like, oh, wow, have you dropped weight? Like it's very pronounced to them. And so that's very similar to how we experience change. For the most part, I would say there's many different ways to experience change. There's trauma, but I would say in a generalized sensation of daily grind, that's kind of the momentum that we're used to. And so, yes, in 2021, we are really going to be engaged in these cycles that say, okay, look closely, now look again. And now, okay, here we go again. Now look again. Okay, now look again. So like 4 more times of look again, or 3 more times of look again after this time that we're in. And so where am I at? So that moves me into one of the messages that had come through. That was late last week, I think. I don't know. It's everything that comes through is just been recorded and put in the Patreon tiers. So it's all kind of becoming all one big huge message to me. like, I guess as it should. But, okay. So, in that, one of those messages that Spirit was speaking to us about, we are in this time of preparing for our full disclosure, full exposure. So, big, huge sloth, big, huge releases. We're acclimating to new, light. I spoke about stargates earlier in the Patreon, and what it means to be adjusting and acclimating to new light energy here. Okay, so I don't know what the hell I was just talking about. Totally lost my train of thought, but sometimes that happens. It's just like whiteboard gone, which is usually just like, okay, Melissa, shut up and get on with it. So I'm gonna do that. All right, no, where am I at? Okay. So the total solar eclipses, they really resonate to end of cycle, beginning of cycle, both literally and figuratively. So I spoke a bit about the solar eclipse that we just experienced. That will again in 2021 eclipse again on this same axis of Sagittarius and Gemini. And trying to decide if there's things that, if I want to use these notes or this other set. Give me 1 minute here. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Okay. So, nope, I don't think I want to use any of that. So, super, super powerful moments of endings and beginnings, and new moon is a fantastic time for us to step into intention. Now, just because this transpired on the 14th doesn't mean that we're not still within the wake of this energy, right? Being able to still connect to this energy, so be able to harness this energy. And so, what Spirit was offering me was saying, work on what your intentions are for what you want to release. So typically we work on intentions for seeds that we're going to plant, new seeds. They didn't say that this time. They said, work on your intentions of what you want to release at full moon. So, and then for my patrons, I'll be posting a worksheet around intention release and seeds being planted. And I'm going to talk probably a little bit further about why we're redoing that with why we're utilizing that new moon space for that work. So another reason that we might have really been feeling explosive energy, I was feeling pretty explosive energy. Actually, you know what? I think, yeah, I was ready for sleep. I was tired that day, and that's one way that it can really affect us. But I was exhausted. Now, I was a bit sleep deprived, but I almost think that was on purpose too, because I slept really hard and really good, and whoo, did I dream. I had a naked man dream, a dancing circle of naked men dream. I know what it means today too. Am I talking about that in this one? Nope, not. It's actually the next video that'll be posted to the Patreon members. So if you're interested in hearing about the naked men dancing in a circle dream and what that all means, then you can come join me on Patreon. So it's a good dream. It's a great dream. It's a wonderful message. But I did wake up laughing. Okay. We are moving into Aquarius, which is an air sign, a mutable sign. Just like Sagittarius and Gemini, they're both mutable signs, which means they're ever moving, they're ever changing, their vibration is ever changing. So if anybody caught another video from last week in Message, from when I was sitting with fire spirits, and was asking, I started asking questions, but of course they give me what is needed. So they were talking about us basically being like energetic enigmatic beings. Oh my God, I said it right. And so I was like, oh, I see. Well, I mean, I understand that we are always in flow and always shaping, but something about the visual of the enigmatic being, and the dancing and celebration and the fire, the mutable energy, and understanding that whole changing vibration, it kind of gave me an aha moment. So mutable energy can sometimes feel chaotic, and but also it offers a lot of changeability in thought, a lot of flexibility in the mind space, which really is very conducive to growth, being open to growth. Also eclipses. So the energies themselves, the mutable energies themselves, a bit chaotic. And then you've got eclipse energy, which are like super powerful, ending, beginning, message, spaces, diminishment of light, return of light. And they carry the energy of instability that's so similar to the mutable energy. So Monday, if you were feeling kind of unnerved, or even excited, or both, or confused, or ungrounded, or mentally agitated, or sleepy, that is pretty normal. Spirit always tells me just to lean in. Whatever it is, just lean in. Okay, one other thing I wanted to mention. When we're talking about this, right? First of all, I'm not an astrologer. So I know certain things or seek certain things because I'm experiencing certain things, or spirit pings me on certain things, and then they kind of plop the stuff into my lap that I need to understand in order to provide an offering. Now, with that said, I will say that another reason why, before you go out and lean into somebody else that's gonna say, this is how you're supposed to feel, this is what you're supposed to experience, this is what you're supposed to take from this moment, X, Y, and Z, without you checking in with yourself first, right? I mean, I just caution against it because I just don't think it's productive for us. You know, we really need to hone in on our own spirit has its own voice, its own story to tell and be expressed. Okay, so I digress. How many times do you think I've said that in just this whole, like, 28 minutes I've been speaking? Okay, but I will say, look at your personal birth chart, because this particular axis, this particular combination, Sagittarius and Gemini, and this solar eclipse, you know, you got to see where that sits in your birth chart. There's different houses which represent different areas of our life experience here. Yeah, I think I said that right. And so, for instance, okay, where's I don't even have my birth chart done. I just feel my way. But it fascinates me. I feel like it is advantageous and productive because they're usually pretty dang accurate. So for me, I'm a Libra, and I kind of looked at where I'm at, whatever. So this could all be arbitrary or on the cusp of certain things, but this is just a for instance, right? So in my Libra space with this particular companion of energy, companionship of energy on this particular solar eclipse. In the house that these two sit for me, brings up areas of like siblings, online business going on, general business going on, local life, relatives, short distance, road trip, short distance travel, writing, speaking, teaching, and mental energy. So, yep, that's pretty much my space right now. That wraps it up pretty fucking well. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to make that note about personal chart because not all horoscopes are created equal for everybody. Is there anything else I wanted to say in that enigmatic space? I think the biggest thing I want to talk about, okay, nope, I lied, there's something, is to keep in mind as we move through this, these other cycles, this moment and the other cycles, is that, okay, so the South Node, right? The South Node rules and represents what we need to overcome, what we need to master in life. Again, that can be internally, externally, or making the rhythm of internal and external match up so they're good alignment and they jive well. However, this is also relative to what drains us. So it's kind of about that balance in there, right? And our South Node will be in Sagittarius for a year. The Sagittarius is always looking for adventure, whether that inward or outward, always on a quest to find meaning, seeking meaning, digesting meaning. And then our North Node, or Gemini, is in our area of North Node. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So our communication, our mind space, our technology, our communication via like technology. So you think about that mutable air sign. Also ruling our local life, our community, siblings, close friends, relatives, colleagues, all that relationship space, everything and everyone that's important to you, basically, and nudging us to keep building local life, enhancing our minds, developing our communication skills. So our communication skills, the development of that, Spirit has said, is going to be deep emotional communication. They touched on this, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before now, as well, relative to our cycle purge. And they also spoke about the deep emotional purge being, how do I say this without it sounding weird? It's deep emotional trauma healing. So it's emotions connected to deep trauma that are coming forward, being purged, require communication. So in that space, then we'll still be working in that space. Relative to our communication skills are to be focused on deep, emotional, authentic, productive communication. In this, as I was kind of gathering my thoughts around this, the image of the eagle came through, but it was the Toltec image of the eagle. And just one quote from the symbology of that card had popped into my mind, and or a concept and quote. So basically, Spirit was identifying destructive behavior or behavior patterns that we've outgrown, no longer serving us. They were either, maybe they devised from defense mechanism, survival technique, whatever it may be. They're no longer really warranted. It's not serving you, right? So what they were saying is, we can find the seed of hidden good in our negative behavior. Meaning destructive behavior, even without the individual maybe being aware of this, but even in that destructive behavior, they're really wanting a connection to something higher. There, whether it be security or stability or love, safety for their souls. So they're the longing for something good or removal or sensation of feeling like something, they're reaching for something good within the destructive behavior, right? That's the point. And this isn't reserved only for people who struggle with addiction, or this is for me. This is for, you know, my kids. This is for you. This is the purpose of this time, or the purpose, the encouragement, the offering, the message to indulge this opportunity is to find the seed of hidden good in our negative behaviors, and then be able to fly them into better ways to achieve the good that we're actually seeking. Does that make sense? Jazz hands. Ah, jazz hands for that. Okay. So there was that. This is an ideal time to meditate, sleep, do dream work, lots of reflection, allow for contemplation, watching your thoughts. That is, yes, watching your thoughts, positive vibrations. Thoughts are part of that whole mutable energy dynamic, right? And powerful. They're powerful. So, things to contemplate. Well, I would contemplate any worn out behavior patterns that aren't serving me, and predominantly any destructive behavior patterns, and I take that to meditation and prayer, and hold space to be shown through obscurity and shown much more clearly what good is it I'm trying to seek within this destructive behavior. How can I then set it in motion, set it in flight in a different way? That's healthy for me. That's fulfilling. In what ways can I feel lighter? Maintaining good vibration. Kind of going in scavenger hunt for that. I'm gonna provide some offerings relative, just ideas, just giving some exercises, some modalities of how to invoke some of these questions on my Patreon. So if you're looking for something guided like that, loosely guided, then again, that journey exploration space is I think it's badass fun, badass productive. It really supports me creating it. It supports me in my journey of all of this. But it's productive. It's good productive space. Anyway, okay. So in what ways can I be lighter or experience light, feeling more light? What does it mean to enjoy life? What do I enjoy? And then in what ways can I do that? And this has been, we've had to get pretty creative with the whole COVID Groundhog's Day. How can I bring humor to my life? Comedic value. Are there things that I need to communicate that I have not communicated? And in what ways can I connect to and enjoy my local community and life within local community at this time? So those are good areas of focus. But, you know, accept those suggestions loosely. Because you might be like, okay, I'm going to go explore how I can feel more light. But when you sit down, your spirit might say, no. Your reflection space might, you know, be this. Just honor that. No pressure. No pressure. It's just exploration, discovery, refine, retune, engage, enjoy, accept, honor. All right, I think that's it for this one. Yeah, I do. Holy batshit. It's longer than anticipated, but hey, man. If you don't know me, this is the way it goes. I'm always late and I always run long. All right. I love you. Have a great evening. Talk to you all soon. Bye.